and welcome back to another episode of The Book Stop. I'm your host Jen, and I'm very excited to talk about today's episode. But before we begin, there will be spoilers as we talk about major events that unfold within the story. In addition, each episode will have a list of trigger warnings in the description. Be sure to follow the podcast on Instagram at The Book Stop Podcast, and show your support on Patreon for early access to episodes and other additional content. And welcome back to another episode of The Book Stop. And today we have the one and only Kim.
I have no last name. This is only my first name. I'm like Beyonce.
You're like Pink. Just Kim.
Do you know I have the same birthday as Beyonce?
Yeah, I do know that. I remember that. But anyways, yeah, we have Kim back again. And today, what are we going to talk about?
Percy Jackson. Specifically, the first book, Percy Jackson, The Lightning Thief.
Yeah, absolutely. So Percy Jackson and the Olympians is the whole trilogy's name. Obviously, written by Riordan. I don't know if I said that right.
Probably. I don't think anyone's going to come attack you for it.
This book came out in June 2005.
Oh, wow. I remember that year.
I think I was around that year, yeah. And this book won a few different awards, but one that really stands out is the Adult Library Service Associations for the Best Book for YA Awards.
Nice.
So, which is pretty cool. To get us started here, we're going to play a little game. So you're going to summarize this book in 30 seconds.
Okay, so Percy Jackson is like the Descendants, but with the children of Greek gods instead of Disney villains. Percy finds out he's a demigod and the son of Poseidon, and his mom dies, or does she? Also, it's Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, mixed with a little bit of other Harry Potter stuff, because there's like, okay, the whole thing is like Percy's like finding out that he's this magical guy, and there's this whole world. He makes two friends, and him and his two friends later on have to face these like 3 big obstacles before they face the big boss. And also, there's literally a 3-headed dog, so it's Harry Potter.
Okay.
That's my summary.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to summarize this book for anybody who hasn't read this book. So, Percy Jackson is a 12-year-old boy diagnosed with dyslexia and ADHD. He's been kicked out of more schools than he can count, not to mention he's never met his father. And right now, he's on the most dangerous quest of his life. With the help of a centaur and the daughter of Athena, Percy must journey across the U.S. to catch a thief who's stolen the original weapon of mass destruction, Zeus's master bolt. Along the way, he must face mythical enemies determined to stop him, and most of all, he must come to terms with a father he has never known.
Damn. I gotta say, though, I think that was like a little bit more than 30 seconds.
I don't have a time limit. I can take as long as I want.
Oh, that's right. You are the actual host of the podcast, so.
That is true. Yeah, so let's hop into it. Let's start with our favorite quotes.
Yes, okay. So, Gabe scratched his double chin. Maybe if you hurry with that 7-layer dip, and maybe if the kid apologizes for interrupting my poker game. And then Percy thinks, maybe if I kick you in your soft spot, I thought, and make you sing soprano for a week. I know it's like not like a deep quote or an important quote, but it's just like a great zinger. I really liked it.
That's good. I hated Gabe, so
yeah,
having
Gabe. That
little comeback, even though it was like in his head, I still loved it.
10 out of 10. Absolutely.
Yeah. That's what I like about Percy is he's very sassy.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. And he's very witty, I guess you could say.
Yeah. We should call him Sassy Jackson.
Sassy Jackson. Sassy Jaxie.
Sassy Jaxie.
The quote that I brought is, even strength must bow to wisdom sometimes. Obviously, having that choice of that smarts is sometimes stronger than strength. And sometimes you just need to be smart and quick to get out of something than just relying on brute force. I really like that line.
Absolutely, yeah. That also feels like a quote that could fit like really well into, I don't know if you watch Survivor.
My mom really likes that show, so I've seen it like in passing, like when she would watch it.
It definitely seems like a kind of quote that they would use for that show, for the marketing.
Yeah.
They'd be like, Survivor season 524. Sometimes you gotta be smart instead of just bulky.
That is not the quote, but okay.
but It's a paraphrase.
Oh, okay, got you. Like your own words.
I'm not about to plagiarize Percy Jackson.
The thing is, Survivor would.
They would, yeah, they would.
Without hesitation. They'd be like, no, I totally did that myself. So, like, what are some things that you liked about this book?
Yeah, okay. So there's a lot that I liked about it, and I will like kind of grain of salt what I liked about it, because I got a little bit stuck in my head for how similar it is to Harry Potter, which is unfair. It's a different story, even though there's a lot of similarities.
People say the same thing with Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings. Like, there's a ton of similarities. So
right, yeah, and it's like, you know, that's a whole discussion in and of itself about there's a lot of media that is similar to other media, and you and I know very well as writers as well. There are so many times where we are writing something that to us is totally original. And then somebody will come back to us and be like, oh, wow, that sounds a lot like insert answer here.
Yes.
And it's a little bit heartbreaking because our culture is very currently like everything must be perfectly original all the time. And I appreciate that. I appreciate striving for full originality. But everything is valid, right? If you're directly knowingly copying something, that's one thing. But there's a lot of similar things that happen to people in life. There's a lot of similar characters that we endure in life. There's just so many similarities that each human has to another human that it's sort of like it's bound to happen where somebody's art resembles somebody else's art.
Yeah.
Which like I think is fine, and it's kind of like really cool to almost like compare and contrast those differences, right?
Yeah.
And sort of see like, oh, you guys have this shared feeling of X, but also so-and-so has Y and you have Z, you know what I mean?
Yeah. You think of an original idea and you're like, oh yeah, I love this. And then somebody comes back and they're like, oh yeah, I've definitely heard that in this. I actually just had that today when I was DMing my D&D campaign, and I had spent weeks planning this battle, and I was like trying to make it entertaining but also trying to keep it to the story, and I'm like, this actually fits so well. And then after the battle, my players were like, you know, this reminded me of blah 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 blah. And I was like, I don't know what that is, and I'm not trying to play off of it, but I thought I'd try to have a new spark of originality. But it's hard to do nowadays because there's just so much media. It's so hard to think of an original thought that not a single person has ever been like, oh, I've already thought of that. You know what I mean? So I totally get what you're saying.
And I feel like, you know, myself and all of us, we need to start kind of reframing it a bit, because I'm the exact same way, right? When somebody tells me, oh, this sounds a lot like something, it feels like a little bit of a stab to the gut or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think we need to start kind of reframing it a little bit for all of us, that like it's more of a compliment than anything, that someone is saying, oh, your story reminds me of this. Again, going back to like, we're all humans and we all experience things similarly and yet differently. So it's inevitable that we're going to have overlapping ideas, and that's fine. That's like really cool. I mean, you look at painters and you look at, you know, you can look at like famous artwork from a certain time period and there's a lot of similarities. It's not like that's bad. It's like, it's really cool to see those similarities, because you're like, oh, cool, this person has a similar kind of experience as this person. Maybe it was an influence of, are they similar personalities? Were they going through something similar? Was a historic event happening and affecting them both? That kind of thing. Yeah. But again, all of this is kind of to say, like, yes, I see very obvious similarities between Percy Jackson and Harry Potter, but that's not to say like this is its own piece. So when I talk about like my likes and my dislikes, I'm trying as much as possible to talk about them solely in the context of Percy Jackson.
Yeah.
Okay, so some of my likes, this is kind of a basic one. I really like that it was like an easy read, but that also like maintained your interest well. And I know that's sort of a factor of a young adult novel. The author did it really well. I was having a fun time reading this whole thing. I never got tripped up. There was never several big words that I just like got stuck on and got taken out of the story. Like Dune. I don't know if you've ever read Dune. That's a really heavy one. And it's great, but like you need to be constantly referring to the glossary to understand what the fuck is going on in that book. Yeah. But like with Percy Jackson, never had to do that. I was just comfortably getting through the whole thing.
Yeah, even if you know a lot about like Greek mythology or not, it teaches you as you go. Yeah. So you're still learning while also experiencing it as Percy Jackson experienced it.
Exactly. He's also, that's another thing I liked about it, is like he's a fun protagonist. Like I know you mentioned he is like witty and a little bit sassy. Like he's a fun person. He's a person that I can very much imagine like hanging out with and like walking around town, grabbing coffee, that kind of thing.
A 12-year-old with coffee?
Okay, so maybe not when I'm at this age. Maybe when I was 12. 12-year-old with coffee would be on the fucking walls.
But also, yeah, being like 27 and
yeah,
maybe
not.
I don't know.
hey, I'm 26. Thank you very much. But he's cool. He's a fun protagonist. I know this is such an overused word, but he's very relatable. And also, like, that's part of, okay, I don't want to get too, like, personal with this, but I've been thinking lately in my life, I've been wondering whether or not I have aspects of ADD or ADHD. And part of that is literally just because of, you know how, like, social media will recommend stuff for you? And there's just, like, been a lot of, like, when you have ADHD, blah, you know, like, that kind of, like, videos and stuff. And I'm like, oh, wait, are you trying to tell me something?
When you get diagnosed by social media.
Yeah, right? Yeah, I don't know. So he's very relatable in that aspect. I do kind of wish that earlier on in the book, he would have just been like, can somebody tell me fully what the fuck is going on? Because it felt like it took us so many chapters to, like, figure shit out.
Yeah, if Percy Jackson could just curse the entire book, I think it would impact the book in a good way.
A 12-year-old going, can somebody tell me what the fuck is going on? I would be like, kid, calm down.
I think that would be very funny.
But yeah, he's cool. He's one of my favorite parts of the book, which is good because, like, you should like your protagonist.
Yeah.
It sucks that there are a lot of stories where your protagonist is just kind of like to bring you in the world and they're not necessarily cool. Yeah. But Percy's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I do like him. I also relate to him as somebody that does have ADHD. And yeah, I also really like Percy. I just love the whole feel of like you had said about Harry Potter when they introduced him to this whole wizarding world, and with Percy joining into this whole world that he actually fits into. Finally, he finds somewhere he fits into, because all of his life, you know, he's been thrown out of different schools and he's not really had any friends apart from Grover, which of course is from this world. So it's nice to finally see somebody that is finally being accepted for like who they are. So I really enjoyed that part of the aspect of the book. This book is very adventurous, which I really like. A lot of twists and turns, and sometimes you didn't really know what was going on, but I think that added to kind of the adventure of it. I also really enjoyed the two worlds that coexist as one, with the gods and with the mortals. So I really liked how well he played that into the story, and how it made it seem like it was just one world and gods are around us even if we don't know it, or, you know, they're up in Mount Olympus. That, you know, they are kind of separate, but they do come down and like mingle with mortals and stuff. So yeah, I liked how the world around Percy Jackson was created and how he does that.
Absolutely. And on like the Greek mythology and the Greek gods, I really loved how they explained the Western civilization and like the movement of Western civilization. Like that's the Greek gods follow that. Like the whole explanation, when they finally got down to it and they explained how all of that is intertwined and being like, yeah, so this is why we're in the United States. Like that was really cool, because there's a lot of media that is epic and takes place in the United States, and they kind of like never really get back to the history because we're such a young country. Okay, that's another thing that we could get on to for a second. There's not a lot of media that like gets into the native history of the US, right? Like the indigenous people. There's slowly more, but not a lot. But anyways, I thought it was cool that they like got into the history of it, and they were like, yeah, so obviously stuff started more in like this area of the world, but like as people sort of migrated this way and lived this way and lived here in the US, like that's why we're here now, because this is sort of the hub of a lot of that. So I thought that was a really cool, like, it made sense.
Yeah.
But I liked how they explained that basically global warming was like blamed on Zeus.
Yeah.
They're like, because he lost his lightning bolt, like that's why the world is on fire.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
It could be. It could be.
So what are some things that you dislike about this book?
No, so not a lot, honestly. I think my one thing is it just felt like there was a lot of like really casual murder by a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
And that's when I was a little bit like, I don't know. But also, like, I kind of have a question on that. So Medusa, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, when Percy kills Medusa and all that, which, again, that was, like, one of the big, like, casual murders, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And she's, like, a really big name. She's a really big character. He's just, like, a 12-year-old just casually, like, boom, you're dead.
Right.
Like, that was wild. Later on, his mom, like, uses Medusa's head to kill Gabe. That was, like, kind of a question I had. So he turned to stone. Is he dead?
So, Sally, Percy's mom, marries Gabe to mask pretty much the aura of Percy. So Gabe is Percy's stepdad. And yeah, after they killed Medusa and the events of the book happen, he comes home and Percy's dad, Poseidon, ships the head of Medusa back to Percy. Sally uses it to kill Gabe, then to sell his stone statue of Gabe's body. She sells it to get enrollment to a private school for Percy. So I'm not saying that I support that decision, but I mean,
yeah,
because he was kind of garbage. So, but yeah, I think he died. I'm pretty sure he died. Like, you don't come back after
That's
Medusa's
wild.
thing. When you're stoned, you're stoned, and not that kind of stoned, different kind of stoned. So granite stone. Yeah. So yeah, I'm pretty sure he's a goner.
Again, casual murder. Gabe sucks, but also, like, bro.
Yeah.
You can't just go killing people who suck.
Yeah, that's not what we should be teaching our children. But I support it. I mean, it's not real.
Young adult novel. Kill everyone. There's actually a lot of murder in young adult novels.
Yeah. Hunger Games is literally a YA. Which is insane.
At least that one, they're like, killing is not great. Like, we don't want to be doing this.
Right, yeah. So some of the things that I personally didn't like about this book was I felt like everything was a little too energetic for this. The plot was a little too energetic. We were just going from one thing to the next thing to the next thing so fast that I felt like it was either insignificant and it was... everything felt too easy as well. I didn't have a single worry that when they faced something that they weren't going to get out of it. I knew that there was not really an end goal where they weren't going to succeed. Some of the tasks were a little outrageous, I guess you could say, for 12-year-olds to do, then in turn felt unrealistic. Obviously, this is a story about Greek gods and a lightning bolt and the underworld and all this kind of stuff, so it's not supposed to be realistic. It pulled me from the immersion of the book a little bit, feeling like, okay, yeah, no, I feel like this isn't very realistic, I guess to say again, for them to do this.
Yeah, I get that.
Not going to talk about the movie right now, but you're going to see in the movie that they kind of take a different route to kind of make it more streamlined, I guess, to get the audience more enticed than going from like one thing to the next, all across the country, which is another thing I want you to talk about. Who lets 3 12-year-olds 13-year-olds maybe
go all the way across the fucking country
without anybody being like, where is your parents? You know, they hop on a train to LAX with a dream and a cardigan.
With a dream and their cardigan.
No, but they hop on a train with like zoo animals, and that's where you find out that Percy's a horse girl, and like you like there was a lot that's happening for a 12-year-old to experience and not get in trouble. And like the cops were after them because they were saying that he did something to his mom, and so it was like a whole thing. And I was like, how are these 12-year-olds? Think 12, like not Logan Lerman 12, where he's like 18 in the movies, like 12. You look like a child.
What grade of school were we in at 12?
I don't know.
6th grade, I think. 6th or 7th grade.
Middle school, definitely.
Middle school. Early middle school. Like, imagine your early middle school self going across country.
With a sword.
And also killing people.
Yeah.
Like, and losing your mom.
Yeah.
Which he got over real fast.
Yeah.
But then, obviously, like, she was fine.
Yeah. That would just really bother me, because I was like, is no one really going to say anything? They just give weapons to these kids, and, you know, Riptide is like this pen that turns into a sword, and Chiron's just like, here you go, here's a nice little pen that turns into a sword, and you get to just keep it, don't break your fingers. What?
Oh my god. So not only is he a 12-year-old boy who's like still becoming a person, ways a distance away from becoming a person, right? You're 12. A 12-year-old boy murdering people cross country with a sword that his teacher gave him.
Yeah.
His teacher was like, this is fine. Let me give you a fucking
this
sword.
This is fine. Like, Annabeth, I will give her a very extended reach because she was at least trained at Camp Half-Blood to be a warrior. Percy Jackson, it's like if you let your 12-year-old cousin walk around with a pair of scissors. Do you trust that? No. but
it's like the meme with the kid who's running around and what do you have? A knife! No! That's Percy Jackson in a nutshell.
Yeah. And then they're just being chased by gods of all sorts of descendants, thinking he has a lightning bolt, so they're trying to kill him and get it back. Here's my biggest one, was the casino scene. I just simply know.
Yeah.
They don't let kids into a casino. You have to be 18 to go into a casino. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, I was like, who wrote this?
Rick, I don't think he's been around some kids in a while.
I think he started out being like, yeah, this character is 12 years old. And when he got into it, he's probably like 30.
Yeah, that's the thing about starting like your character so young, because some of the stuff, it's just, I don't care how strong and how brave you are. Some of the stuff is just a bit unrealistic. Okay, I went on a complete tangent, but that really bothered me.
No, you're totally right, though. That's like, I think the most valid argument against this book is like all of what you just said.
Yeah. Obviously, Percy, our main character, he goes through a lot in this book, and, his whole world quite literally turns upside down as he is discovering not only his past, but his possible future, and the people that are in his life pretty much lied to him the entire time, obviously to keep him safe. Knowing that your mom knows all about this and has not made an effort to at least clue you in, I get that ignorance is bliss, but at the same time, maybe a little warning would be nice.
Yeah. When, she died, the pacing of it was really not good. It seemed like it was, very, very quick.
Yeah.
They were like, and his mom died, and he moves on, kind of thing. On one hand, I get it, because obviously later on, she, comes back and everything's fine. But, reading that, I was like, what the fuck? If his mom just died, his mom was really cool. I was like, if his mom just died, wouldn't we be, lingering on that a bit longer?
Yeah.
Wouldn't he, make a more of an effort, figure out what the fuck just happened and, take a minute?
Yeah, that's an excellent point, because she's supposed to be the driving force for him. The reason he does all this stuff is to get his mom back. He doesn't care about the bolt. He doesn't care about what people think. He doesn't even know who his dad is. He's literally doing all of this stuff just to get his mom back. When she leaves, he thinks about her in passing, but it's never a driving force for him. You never see that.
Yeah, it needed to be heavier.
Yeah. They should have brought it out a little bit more. Even, I think it'd be cool to do flashbacks. Had those flashbacks about the candy and the blue food.
Yeah. Oh, that was such a cute little moment. Also, Percy and his mom give me Peter Parker, Aunt May vibes.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
They get along so well. It's a very cute mother and son, but there is also a friendship there.
Yeah, they definitely trust each other. It definitely draws from, all he has is his mom. He doesn't have anybody else. He didn't really have friends. He doesn't know who his dad is. He doesn't have any other siblings. So he's kind of just been him and his mom until, Gabe came to the picture recently. But going back to Percy's identity, yeah, he never really, knew who he was. And because it was just kept secret to him for his whole life. And I really like that you get to see, every choice that Percy makes in this story is just him becoming more of himself and accepting more of himself. I think the way that he kind of revealed Percy's identity to himself, to Percy, was very nice. I liked how he did that.
And that's something I liked about it. It does also make me really interested in the next books.
Yeah.
I got a really comfortable foundation with everything. There's still a lot of room for things to happen.
Yeah, this series, the first half has 5 books, and then there's another series, extension of the series, that has another 5 books.
Oh,
so
God.
This is a big series. I have only read up to the 4th book, and then I stopped reading. But I've always wanted to pick it back up and just finish it, but it's a lot of books.
Aren't they? They're making either a show or another movie series.
Yes, they're finally making it an actual TV series, and Rick is actually part of it, so they just released the cast of it. And I am super excited. They made Annabeth African American, which is awesome.
Oh, hell yeah.
But yeah, so who would you say is your favorite character in this book?
Ooh, okay. So I was really wavering between Grover or Percy, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Or even his mom, which like we barely got to see, but when she was there, she was really cool. So you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna pick her. I'm gonna pick his mom because I thought she was really cool, and I thought like it's something that I'm glad that the book didn't overly explore her relationship with the smelly dude, but it gave me enough of like I can kind of understand what's going on there. Even before they explained like, oh, the reason that she stayed with that guy was to like protect Percy. Even before that, I could kind of understand like, oh, he sucks, but it's more difficult being a single mom than having like some sort of help, even if it's like a bare minimum. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't like that guy, and I think he sucks, and she should have gotten rid of him earlier if it wasn't for the whole like protection thing. Yeah. But I think I just want to say like the way that earlier bit was written was very natural, I guess I would say.
Yeah. I also put Sally as one of my favorites. She's a little bit of a plot device for a little bit there, but she becomes more helpful and like useful within the story, not only in this one but in the other ones as well. She becomes more of a solid character for Percy, which she is his foundation, honestly. She is there to help him no matter what. But I also really like Grover as well. I wish we honestly would have gotten more about Grover, which is his best friend who is the satyr. I think he was really funny, and I think he's like, you know, the comic relief of the story. Yeah, I just wish we had more of him.
Totally agree.
So I just want to take a second here to shout out the Patreon subscribers. So a huge shout out to Nick W, Bree P, and Lulu. Definitely not my mom. Thank you guys so much for supporting the book stop. It means the absolute world to me. It's great knowing that I have fun making these, and I'm glad that people have fun listening to them. So huge shout out to you guys. If you want to be in a podcast shout out, just head over to Patreon and subscribe today.
Hell yeah. Patreon subscribers, real MVPs right there. Real MVPs. Seriously.
Yeah, I want to talk about the gods a little bit more. Obviously, we are circling just around the Greek gods in this series. We got the big three. You know, the big three.
The big three.
We got Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades. I will say I love the way that they depict Hades in this story, being like a little bit of a rock star with the vibe of that. But I also really just like the influence of the gods in the story. Like how you said that the mortals said that it was global warming that was affecting like the weather around them. And I like Ares being introduced in the story as this big buff guy on a motorcycle, and he's just, you know, when he takes his glasses off, it's smoke and fog and fire and all this kind of cool stuff. And I just really like the way that they're not only introduced in the story, but the impact that they have within the story itself. And then, you know, Percy literally he just has to fight so many gods.
A 12-year-old.
He defeats Ares at the end. Like, what? He's like one of the strongest. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know.
Even when he killed Medusa, I was like, boy, what?
Yeah.
And like again, going back to that, I'm like, Medusa is a goddamn queen. Like terrible, but a terrible goddamn queen. Like there's no way. But whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just like, okay, I guess we'll just do that then. Camp Half-Blood, we didn't really talk about it a ton, but this is where all the demigods go to kind of learn about their history and to learn how to fight. And each of the Camp Half-Blood campers all are demigods from sons and daughters of gods, and they're all broken up into different houses of who their parent is.
It was kind of confusing how like the names of the houses were gods, and yet like the people in the houses were like the sons of gods. Specifically because like they were in House Hermes, right?
Right.
But doesn't Hermes have a kid?
Yeah, so whenever they come in, they will, because Hermes has so many kids, anybody that isn't claimed by a god, then they just put him in House Hermes because he just has so many kids. Like Luke, who is one of the antagonists of the story, he is a son of Hermes, so he is like the one that looks over. He's like the oldest of his sons, I guess.
Wait, I thought he was a son of... Oh, no, you're right. I'm sorry. I get Hermes and Hades confused.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Which is terrible.
Yeah, Hades, I don't think they mentioned in this book if he has any kids.
But maybe in future books.
Maybe in the future. But yeah, so Hermes, unless you've been claimed by your actual parent, you just live in, or you just stay in the Hermes house. So that's where Percy started at, he was started in there, and that's how he met Luke. And then after a battle, Poseidon had taken him as his own son, and that's how he got his own house, or cabin, I guess you could say. So, who would be your Olympian parent?
Oh, that's a good question. Okay, so all right, let me think about this. So I would probably be the daughter of like someone artistic
Hmm.
because like that's my whole like I'm a very like creative artistic kind of person. That's my whole fucking vibe. That's my career. So what are the other houses? I'm totally blanking because my mind is again going back to Harry Potter and I'm thinking like, oh, Ravenclaw,
Oh, I would
Gryffindor.
be House Ravenclaw, actually. So while you're thinking, I'll go first. I think I would be under Apollo's house, just because he's
Oh my
the
gosh, same. That's exactly what I was gonna say.
because he is the god of archery, and I love archery.
Mhm.
He's also the god of music, and I absolutely love music. I listen to music constantly. It's always on. So I feel like that is something that I connect to Apollo with. Yeah, that's who I would probably be, Apollo for sure, as we jam out to the new Lizzo song.
Yes. No, but I actually am going to steal your answer. Only a little bit. Because I was talking about how I would probably be in the house of like someone creative and the musically inclined Apollo. I think that would fit.
I
But
figured
yeah.
you would go Hades, honestly.
Oh, because
I'm
Hades is an
shocked.
absolute boss? Yes, that too. One or the other.
I could see you calling him dad.
Yeah, but only dad. Nothing more. nothing
Uh,
nothing more.
So who would you say is your favorite relationship in this book?
Ooh, okay. Definitely Percy and his mom. I know that's going back again. I've kind of talked about them a lot. But
Mhm.
yeah, again, with the fact that they give me like Peter Parker and May vibes.
Yeah. I said that my favorite relationship was Percy and Poseidon, which is a little out there because you don't really see
Oh, okay.
Poseidon.
Percy and his deadbeat dad. Okay, I see.
Okay. And normally I wouldn't support a deadbeat dad, but again, it isn't really his choice to
Mhm.
not be there. And he's always like lingered back and tried to like show Percy that he was there. And Percy always felt that he was there because of the laws that the gods have. They just weren't allowed to see him. So I will give him a shred of hope that in the future it will be different. But I also just like to think of like how different it would be if he could have been there.
Yeah.
You know, if things were reversed or different and how Percy's life would be different. And I just like thinking about like the what if scenarios.
Yeah, I get that. I get the vibes that Poseidon would have been a pretty good dad.
Yeah. I feel like he'd be the dad that would leave work early just so he can come play catch with his son.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I feel like he would be a good dad. But this is again on the first book and we don't have a lot of information on him. So
True. Yeah.
watch him 4 books down and
He's like a jerk.
is awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, he kills Percy.
Oh
Like,
my god. I hope not. That'd be terrible.
do you want to play a game?
Absolutely.
All right. So I'm going to list off a person, and you're going to tell me if they're either a demigod or a god.
Oh fuck. Okay.
All right. So first we have is Iris.
I don't even remember who that is.
Some of these are not in the book. Yeah.
God.
God. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Wow. 1 point. Arcus.
Demigod?
Yep.
Oh, thank God.
Hercules.
Oh, demigod.
Yep. Pan.
I don't fucking know. God?
Yep.
Oh, I got lucky. Okay.
Achilles.
God.
Nope. He's a demigod.
Achilles is a demigod? What?
Yep. Perseus.
This feels like a trap. I'm gonna say demigod.
Yep.
Okay. Whew.
All right. Artemis.
God.
Yep.
This is so stressful.
You're doing good so far. You got 1 wrong. Theseus.
God?
Nope. He's a demigod.
Just kidding. Just a demigod. That's what I meant. I just said it weirdly.
No.
Now you told me I was on a roll and now I'm just screwing
Okay,
it
here's
up.
an easy one. Here's the easy one.
Okay.
Eros.
God.
Wait, were you saying God as like an exclamation, like oh God, or were you saying God as the answer?
You tell me. You tell me. What was that?
Yeah, he's a god.
Okay.
And then the last one is Minos.
Fuck. I think demigod.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
All right. Yay!
I
All
did
done.
way better than I thought it was gonna do.
Sure. I think you did about average of what you were gonna do.
Okay, yeah, like a C+.
Yeah. All right. Yay! That was so much fun.
For you.
For me.
And then I'm over here sweating.
So what would you say, in your own personal opinion, your own personal thoughts, what are some things that you would do differently within this book?
Yeah, I think kind of like you said earlier with pacing a bit, I would add more downtime to get to know Percy a bit more, to get to know his relationships with everyone a bit more, and just for him to sort of describe his experiences a little bit more.
Yeah.
So definitely that. I would make him at least 16 or 17 years old.
Yeah, definitely.
Instead, for all the reasons that we talked about. And then I don't think I would have him kill Medusa.
Yeah.
Which is another thing we kind of talked about a lot, is that whole situation. I don't think I would have had him kill Medusa. I think I would have had that go down differently, because I know he needed to like prove himself or whatever.
Yeah.
But maybe that would have been like cutting off her ear or stabbing one of her eyes or something less casual, full-on murder, and something that I think a newly trained demigod could be more plausibly capable of.
Yeah.
So something along those lines. Yeah, I think that's about it. I think that's all I would really tamper with.
Yeah, to like bridge off of what you're saying about killing Medusa, it leaves no room for him to get stronger, because I feel like he's already so strong to kill Medusa, to get to Hades, get back from Hades, to defeating Ares. Like, he's doing all of these things in the first book. What, kill Zeus? Is that what's next?
Right?
What is the line that he can't cross at this point? Because he's done so many things already without difficulty.
I'm sure that the Titans are going to be kind of a big boss in a way.
Yeah.
But it's still, I totally agree with you. It's like he's way too overpowered right now.
Yeah. Like, I'm sure, like, battling, Zeus's parents and that, it's going to be outrageous. It's going to be hard. And he's not going to be able to do it himself. But, if he's on the field, we got nothing to worry about. So...
Yeah, 12-year-old with a sword.
With a little riptide.
We're fine.
But yeah, I definitely agree. I would pull back his strength, I guess. I don't know. I would definitely make it where it's more realistic of a actual child, literal child that's never held a sword before. I get that it's like an instinct to just pick it up and be strong, but at the same time, we need to see that growth within him. I didn't see a training montage, so I'm just saying.
Oh, right? And that's something, for everyone listening to this podcast, I've never seen the movie. I'm about to watch the movie probably either tonight or tomorrow, so that Jen and I can re-record a whole episode about the book and the movie and how the adaptation went and sort of the translation of the story. For my podcast, Flip the Script. But yeah, I say all of that because I'm hoping that they're going to have a training montage. I feel like that's like it's a requirement really for a story like this to have a training montage. And because there wasn't, I'm hoping that that's something they added into the story for the movie. But we'll see. I'll find out.
Yeah, definitely come and listen. Flip the Script, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google. I'll put it in the description for when it comes out. But yeah, please listen to it. I'm going to go off on that. Oh my god, I can't stand the movie. Like, no hate to like Logan or anybody that was in that movie. Like, they all did great, but I think out of every possible movie I've ever seen, book to movie that is, this is the worst adaptation I've ever seen. So I'm very excited to talk about it.
All right. Hell yeah. We'll have a drink, knock back a drink, and rant about
Let's
it.
Let's go. Yeah. For me, missed opportunities, like anything that I would change, again, like dial that back. And obviously more mom. I want to see more Sally. She should have been more of a driving force within the story, and I would love to see more of her.
I want Sally with a sword.
Yes. Sally with a sword. Let's just rewrite the entire series, just call it Sally with a sword.
Sally with a sword, featuring Percy Jackson on the side.
But yeah, so you've never read this series, so what do you think is going to happen next?
So I'll throw out some real predictions that I have, and I'll throw out some wild cards just to see where they land.
Okay.
So real predictions I have, I think there's going to be some big fight between Grover and Percy at some point in the next couple books.
Okay.
A big fight that they have. I'm not sure about what, but a big fight that they have that sort of drives them apart and sort of makes them realize how much they need each other.
Mm-hmm.
And not just Percy needing Grover, but Grover needing Percy. Like, there's a really good mutualistic relationship that they've started to build. So that's just a small prediction there. A wild card prediction. I think Poseidon's gonna die. I don't know how.
By Percy.
Percy kills, but I would not be surprised. I think there's a way that could happen. It would suck. It'd be dramatic, but that's a possibility.
Rick is willing to do anything for this world, so it could happen.
Yeah. You know what? Another wild card I'm going to throw out because we're talking about this. I think Smelly Gabe is going to come back to life. Hades going to bring Smelly Gabe back to life, and he's going to fuck shit up.
Let's go. He becomes a god.
He becomes, oh my god, Smelly Gabe the god of smells. The god of bean dip.
Oh god, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so I'm gonna one last legitimate prediction. I do think at some point Percy will face Kronos.
Okay.
I just don't know when that's gonna happen.
Okay. Those are all very great guesses. I hope that I haven't finished the series, but I hope the Smelly Gabe part comes true.
That'd be so funny.
Or I want to take the books out of my brain and never think of them again.
Yeah. You emailed the author, you're like, you have to rewrite this to happen.
Yeah, so we're kind of coming to a close here. So we do one more thing before we head out. We are going to do a rating scale, and we do it a little bit different here on the Book Stop. We kind of make up our own thing. So I would give Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief 6 stone statues on sale to send my son to school out of 10.
That was incredibly impressive. Amazing. I love that. I love that so much.
Thank you. I think it's a great first book to kind of get you prepared for the series, get you in it, lay down the ground rules and the landscape and the foundation, and just get ready to build a beautiful cabin on the side of the sea. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, just get you started on this whole thing that the story is. So I think it was a good story. I wish I got a little bit more from the characters themselves, like Annabeth barely talked about, because I feel like she didn't really have a huge impact on this book.
Yeah, I'm like interested to see where she goes from here.
Yeah.
So I rate this book 5.5 out of 7 layers of bean dip. In a similar way that you said, I think there's a lot of good groundwork in here, but I do think there's a lot of room for improvement. I know that sounds kind of shitty. And we talked very in depth about what those points were, right? What the strong points were, what the weak points were. Yeah, so I think to quantify it, I would give it 5.5 out of 7 layers of bean dip.
Yeah, you just couldn't reach that bottom layer, bottom 2 layers.
Just couldn't reach that bottom layer, and totally forgot the top cheese.
Oh my god! So it's only a 6-layer dip. Because the cheese not even there.
Yeah, basically.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and talking about this Percy Jackson book. And again, we are going to do another podcast that will come out probably about the same time as this one. So keep an eye out for Flip the Script. I'll put a link in the description. And yeah, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I always love doing this. So this was great.
Yeah, Kim will be back. We're going to do...
Oh, Songbirds and Snakes?
Yeah, we were going to do...
Ballad of Song... We're doing that?
Yeah, we're doing that one.
You know what's great about that? Ooh, quick preview for your viewers to get excited for that. So that book, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, is the prequel to the Hunger Games trilogy. Mm-hmm. They are currently filming it. So I live in Los Angeles. I'm in the film industry. I'm not working on the project yet, but I am trying to sort of creep my way in. So that would be really interesting.
Ooh.
So yeah, that one we might probably do another sort of double dip where we talk about the book here on the Book Stop. And then when the movie comes out next year, we might do a Flip the Script episode and talk about the adaptation process.
Absolutely. We're going to take a double dip out of that 7-layer dip, bro.
I was like, I know she's going to bring it up. Hell yeah. Now I'm hungry.
I know. I really want 7-layer dip now. Well, thank you so much. I had a great time, an absolute great time.
Bye.
Thank you for turning the pages with us today. If you've enjoyed this episode, show your support by leaving a review, sharing the episode, and following the podcast on Instagram at The Bookstop Podcast. Join us on Patreon for early access to episodes and other additional content. Thank you for listening, and I'm looking forward to the next one. Hope you are too.